Well, hey everybody, this is Don with the Vlog of Many Things, and with next to me is Mr. Stephen Lake. We're kind of doing kind of an impromptu recording today without Eric and Tom, our normal cohorts in all of this, is just because it is Thursday, the 15th of May, and we just thought we'd do just kind of a quick little video about book publishing in general because we both really know that subject well. And we want to kind of get in some of the nuances, what to watch out for, some of the tricks and traps out there among publishers. Why is book publishing that you pay for called vanity publishing, and why is it not vanity publishing? Which I'm sure I'm going to get a lot of shit from, but that's how that goes. So, Steve, how you doing today, my friend?
Oh, doing good.
Good. How's Hemi the cat doing?
He's Hemi.
Still in love with Birdie, the stuffed animal, I take it?
Yeah.
Is it true love?
No, I don't even really think he knows who Birdie is anymore.
He doesn't care who Birdie is anymore.
Right.
Okay. You're not putting socks on in the morning and they're damp from Hemi, are you? No? Okay, watch out for that cat. That cat's got some issues. But at any rate, I digress. We're not talking about horny cats today. We're talking about book publishing. All right. A little bit of background on me and Steve both. Steve is a published author. He has, how many books under your belt right now published? Actively online for sale?
Well, 25 online for sale, 29 total.
Okay. So he's got basically 30 books. So Steve is very experienced. Steve has been a friend of mine for 17 years. He was with me when I first started my old publishing company. He was actually working for me through then in various different roles. So Steve really knows the publishing industry from get-go day one all the way to now. Steve is going to be intimately involved also in Wizard Tower Publishing. We, matter of fact, just got Author Tracker Pro back up and running, which is the tracking program we used for my old publishing company, which we're going to be modernizing it to a different level of coding. Let's put it that way. So knowledgeable pair here, not touting horns, just being factual. So some of the things we want to talk about today is we want to talk about, you'll hear terms online from people, and you'll hear terms like vanity publishing, pay-to-play publishing. And that's kind of the first topic I want to get into, Steve, is another thing you'll hear from people is they'll say, if you pay a publisher to publish your book, you're not really published. And I'm going to really push back against that. And I think you will too. Mm-hmm. So we're going to talk a little bit about first, what is vanity publishing and why is it a good thing or a bad thing? So I'll let you start. Steve, your definition, what is vanity publishing?
Vanity publishing, in my definition, is publishing for the purpose of ego more than anything. And one thing I've seen too, and a lot of these guys that are like, well, if you're not with a traditional publisher, you're not actually published. And, like you said, I call BS on that because it's not who you go with so much as how you go out there. Are you doing this for your own ego, or are you doing this because you love writing and publishing and stuff like that?
Okay, so I go a little bit different than you. Mm-hmm. Okay, my definition of vanity publishing is more what you see traditionally online. Is you'll see people say, okay, you can publish one of three different ways. Mm-hmm. Okay, you can go and you can design your own book, do all the work yourself, or hire somebody to do the work.
Self-publishing.
And then self-publish. And you can publish the book yourself, stick it on wherever you can. That's self-publishing. It works great for some. It does not work great for others. You also have the traditional way to publish. Excuse me. I take my manuscript and I submit it to Del Rey or HarperCollins, and I hope that they'll look at it, be impressed enough where they say, I want to publish Don's book. That's traditional publishing. Now, vanity publishing in the traditional online term is where you basically will go to a publishing company like Wizard Tower Publishing, and you'll say, I want you to publish my book, and Wizard Tower says, okay, you can either have us do elements of it or you can pay us a fee and we'll do everything. That's more the technical term for vanity publishing to me.
Mhm.
And that's what you get online a lot. So the problem that people have with that is, and you'll usually get it from people, and I call them purists, is these people who have submitted their book to a traditional publisher, and they got lucky and they got selected. Now, in their mind, that's where the ego takes over. I'm traditionally published. Steve, you are not. You are not worthy because you paid ABC to publish your book. My argument to all of this is simple. Let's say Steve is traditionally published. He goes with Del Rey, and Del Rey picked up his book. And Don paid ABC Publishing to publish my book. Okay? We both went different routes. Is Steve really published more than Don if my books are in the same stores as yours? My books are in the same places being sold as yours.
Yeah, it's a different means, and I think what a lot of these guys that don't like people who go to the vanity publishers or self publishers is the fact that they if the only way they can get published is through a vanity publisher, but you manage to get through a Del Rey or whoever it was, traditional publisher. Yeah, if you can't get in there, then you're not worthy because the gatekeepers didn't let you in, so therefore you must suck, and therefore you're not a properly published author, which I call BS on. Because you could be. I've seen Del Rey and HarperCollins and all those guys produce some pretty just disgusting books.
Well, I've done contract work for Del Rey.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, for book covers. And I can tell you, I have been on Zoom calls with these people, and they literally will have a book that they all love. Everybody in the Zoom meeting loves this book, but they refuse to carry it because, as an example, it's not the topic that they're looking for right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or this is going to sound really, really horrible. And this isn't me talking. This is how the reality of all this goes. They'll literally say, well, this person is ethnic, and I'll just use that term generically. And we're not looking right now for an ethnic author to write this type of book. It doesn't fit. And that's the kind of bullshit that you run into in these cases. So when you get denied by a traditional book cover or book publisher, and I'm not picking on Del Rey or HarperCollins, I'm just saying the publishers I've dealt with intimately one-on-one,
mm-hmm.
You'll be surprised at the reasons why they decline books. It's not always like you think, oh, this book sucks or it's a horrible story. Sometimes it's stuff that is really horrible on them, And to me, my view is simple. You know what? If I pay to have Jobo Publishing publish my book, and my book is in Barnes & Noble, and it's on Amazon, and it's in Del Rey, and it's in a distributor that's widespread available to bookstores all the United States, I got a good deal.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if that publisher is willing to, I call it flogging, but especially if that publisher is willing to market my book.
Mm-hmm.
So what makes you better than I, Steve? Mm-hmm. And me and Steve are not arguing back and forth. We're good friends. Steve, the point we're trying to make here is, for the sake of this video, Steve is traditionally published. I am not. We're going to argue like that. So what makes Steve better than Don or Don better than Steve? No, our books are available everywhere each other's books are available. Mm-hmm. The only difference is I paid down a fee to have my publishing done, which really, if you think about it, who's the sucker here? I'm not. I think you are the traditional published guy because I control my book.
Exactly. Traditional publishers have very iron-fisted control over the book, whereas with a vanity publisher, you have a lot more freedom.
Absolutely.
And on top of that, one of my thoughts with authors is, I don't care if you came through trying to remember, it's not HarperCollins, but it's
Del Rey, Ingram.
Yeah, I can't think what there is. Anyways, if you come through one of the traditional publishers, they can go out there and do, like, oh, we've got this person and this is a great book and we're advertising it. We've done a 50,000 copy run and not sell a single book. And, just because, okay, they thought it was a great book or maybe it fit with what they wanted, but nobody else wants it. And, and
there's another thing though, also that people don't get. There's a term that nobody out there understands in book cover land, because I've tossed this about and I get called I'm full of shit. And I'm sorry, when it comes to publishing, I know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. There's a term called shelving. Okay. Shelving is a very interesting thing with publishers. And this is basically what shelving is. Okay. Let's say I'm a traditional publisher and Steve comes to me and Steve has a book. And this book is, let's just say, about a boy wizard who went to a wizarding school.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say it is like damn fine written book. You're not allowed to get on that computer while we're talking. Okay? I'm chewing his ass out, people. Everybody comment when you see this video about him. Any rate, I think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. It is. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to shelve it. I'm going to tell you the reason why I'm going to shelve your book. And I'm going to tell you what it is now. Shelving is where a publisher agrees to publish your book. Okay? But what they do is in the contract, you don't realize it because you're excited. You're going to sign anything from Del Rey. There's a thing called the shelving clause. And what a shelving clause basically is this. It's where I, as your publisher, I control your book. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pay you your advancement fee. And I'm going to take your book and I'm going to put it on the proverbial shelf and I'm not publishing it. Why? Because there's a well-known author that's doing the same similar book. I can make more money off him. And I want to take control of your book because I don't want you being better than him or her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's called shelving. It's where I basically take over your book. Random House is one that's out there that does stuff like that, and it's called shelving. And it is a thing that they use. And for you out there who say, "Well, I'm not worried about it because it's my book," let me explain something to you. When you publish with a traditional publisher, it ain't your book no more, Chucky.
Yeah, you signed the rights over.
Yeah. They have control of your book. They have marketing of your book. They have control and the ability to say, Steve, no, you're not selling that online. No, you're not going to go ahead and unshelve this book. Our contract is good for 10 years. And you're locked out of your own book. And I'm not doing this as a sell. Okay? And I'm not doing this to scare people. The purpose of this video is to give people an understanding of how vicious this business can be when you traditionally publish. And that is the reason why there has been an explosion with vanity, aka pay to publish. Because the reason why is because when you pay somebody to publish your book, a company, usually the contracts are negotiable. You get a bigger percentage, a higher royalty. You maintain control ultimately of your work. And you have the ability to say, Steve or Don, this just isn't a good fit for me. I've been with you for 6 months. I'm not happy with the service you're giving me. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to terminate you as my publisher and I'm going to take my book over. And we'll get into this next, is what to watch out for when you're going to pay to publish. What are the things you want to make sure happens? So shall we get into that next?
Sure.
Okay, Steve, real quick, in your opinion, what are a few things that you want to see in a contract when you go to publish with a pay-to-publisher? Give 3 or 4 things that you want to see as an experienced 30-book guy. You are.
Mm-hmm.
So what are they? What are a few?
Well, I want to, all of the costs laid out to me exactly. What is it going to cost me? What are my rights as the author?
Smart move. Smart.
And what is distribution going to look like? Like distribution, marketing, that kind of thing.
Yep, smart. Now, a couple of things I think that somebody should have, and they will have with Wizard Tower Publishing. But again, not a sell. We're talking facts here.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I'm talking facts here, just real quick, is because, facts are facts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they are what they are. I mean, you know, shelving is a real thing. You can, in your mind, not want to believe it. You can go to La La Land and say, blah, 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 I don't believe you. That's fine. But it's a fact. It happens. And no publisher is going to come up to you at the beginning and say, don't worry, we're going to shelve your book. Of course not. They're going to say, no, we're not going to do that. But once you sign that paper, it doesn't matter what you said verbally to them. You signed a contract with them. So what are things I want to see? I think you're right. I want to see exactly what I'm getting for my money. I want it detailed out. I want it literally spelled out to me like I'm a kindergartner. I want 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're very clear. I want to see what my rights are in distribution. Where are you going to distribute my book to? Where am I going to be able to send my friends and family, or where am I going to send my readers to buy my book? Those you just pointed out two very important things. I also want to see a few things. I want to know what my rights are if I want to terminate your services. Okay. I want to know, is there like any hidden upfront costs? Like, yeah, be careful. Sometimes they'll say, we as the publisher get 20% and Steve, you get 80%. And you go, wow. But later on in that contract, there's a part that says your royalties begin after we recover our fees. That's a trick they do. You don't want to see that. What fees? I'm paying you up front to publish my book. Okay? There should be no additional fees unless I want to hire you to do more than what I'm paying you to do. Okay? I want to see things like, and I think that this is a very, very, the most important critical thing of all. I want to see that I maintain my copyright and my IP, intellectual property and trademark. You as my publisher do not own it. You never gain ownership. Now, you have certain control of it while we have a contract, because a publisher has to in order to market the book online. If I'm going to, like as an example, if I'm going to go to Barnes & Noble as a publisher and put Stephen Lake's book on there, I have to certify to them that you have given me the right to do that. And sometimes they will say, let me see the agreement. So those are some things you want to definitely see. So basically, make sure you maintain control of your book. Make sure that you know what your royalties are going to be. No hidden costs. And give me my ABCs of what I get for my money. Those are really good ideas.
Another thing too, when you go into, it doesn't matter if you're going into a traditional publisher, self-publishing, vanity publishing, whatever. One of the things people have to understand is, the publisher might do a large percentage of the marketing, but you are the brand. You have to do your own marketing and do it well.
Well said, my friend. I'm glad you brought it up. You cannot sit back on your laurels and say, go do all my work for me. Publishing is work. And yes, your publisher needs to do their work and they need to push your book. But on the same token, you have to be your biggest cheerleader. You know, I always tell people, excuse me, if you're going to be an author and you take it seriously, you want to do a few things. You want to have a dedicated author page on social media, Facebook, Twitter, whatever your flavor is. You want a dedicated, not Don Samora. You need Don Samora, the official author page. Number one. Number two, I don't care who you frickin' voted for. I don't care what your political beliefs are. I don't care what your social beliefs are. Keep it off of your author page. I see this so much where people are pushing Biden bullshit or Trump bullshit on their author page. Stop. What you're doing is you are alienating a large portion of your readership when you play these games. I don't care if you are the biggest Trump supporter, the biggest Biden supporter. I don't care if you think that people are woke or too liberal or too conservative. Stop. Okay? Keep it off of your author page, because as a reader, I don't care what your politics are. But if you let me know what your politics are, then you risk me not agreeing with you and possibly being turned off as a reader. And I'll give a good example. J.K. Rowling was beloved. She was beloved by everybody. They loved her for Harry Potter. They loved her for, what she did. And then she began running her yappers. And she was anti this and anti that. And I'm not getting into the social politics here, but she really went after the gay and transgender community. And no matter what your opinions are on that, what she then did was she alienated a large portion of what was her base. So that's my big thing is my advice. Have a dedicated author social media presence. Keep your social and political politics off your pages. It doesn't matter. Okay. And also have a website.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if it's a website that just says, Don Samora, the author, here's a link to my book, and it's one page and one page only. One second, I want to do this here real quick. Just for you guys that you know, I told him to quit squirreling on the internet.
I don't do that.
We are talking about important things here. But no, seriously, have a social media presence, keep politics and social politics off, and have a website. A website is critical. You can have just a simple little, hi, I'm Don Samora, author. These are my books, and maybe have a about me page where you talk about this is why I write, fiction or fantasy or crime novels or whatnot. Always have a section on there thanking the people who do your book covers and your layout, because they make you matter. They help you.
Mm-hmm.
Their work is what makes you look good as an author. So always have kind of like, I want to thank Joe Smith for doing my layouts or my covers. That's important because that also gives you loyalty to the people that work with you. Have a way that people can contact you. Maybe not a contact page, but maybe just kind of like a Gmail account that's kind of just a place that people can email you, where you can filter out, don't give them your personal email. Give them a generic email where you can filter out the, really because people get nasty with you and people will be very good to you. And what you want to make sure is that people don't have access to your personal stuff. If you're going to have a social media presence online, have a way that people can engage with you. So if you have a Facebook page, okay, have a page. Don't have a personal account or a group. Have a business page, because the business page allows you a lot of control. You can do things like you can have it where nobody can comment on your posts. So if you have a bunch of jerks, you can filter them out. You can have it where you can enter keywords. So like as an example, if someone, keeps calling you, you can filter out words like the F word and the C word. And you can filter out words, so if somebody types that in, their post doesn't even show up. So you're preventing people from getting really nasty and saucy with you, basically.
Right. And another thing to have on your website is not just like a contact me page, but, well, if you do have the contact me page, have all of your social media on there. If you're like on Instagram, stuff like that. Also have a page that lists your books and where to buy them. And one thing I also advise is to have a blog on there, because there's things that people will not go to your social media no matter what you do, and so you post it on the blog, especially your longer stuff that doesn't really work well on social media.
What do you suggest to the people watching this video, Steve? Because I know you do blog. What are some things to blog about?
Well, if you're doing shorter, quick little snippets or basically social media size posts, put them over there. If it's something that's more longer, more thoughtful, like, this is what I write. This is why I think this particular genre is important, and it's a longer post, you put it in the blog and then you link it on social media so that you're not, somebody isn't opening their social media and, there's this big massive post over there that's kind of hard to read. And it also, if you take the longer posts and reserve them for your blog, it draws people over to your blog, which keeps them on your site, which keeps them in the back of your, keeps you in the back of their mind, so that, the next time you release a book, it gets out there faster because they're keeping an eye on your site.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I like Facebook, or not Facebook, YouTube, because if you do YouTube videos, you can do like and subscribe, and if they hit the bell icon, every time you post a video, they will get a little notification saying that Stephen Lake posted a video. You also use a website. Hold on a minute. I want to get this right. Just a minute. I want to pull it up here. You use a website called, let me find it real quick. Are you hearing a click, Steve? Like a pop?
Yeah, that's me temporarily muting so I don't blow up your ears.
Okay. Hold on a minute. Let me look you up here. It's a website that you use. Hold on a minute. Here we go. You go ahead and you utilize, what is that website that you use? You do your videos on it.
Yeah, YouTube and Rumble.
Rumble, that's it. Sorry, you're right. Rumble. Well, I couldn't find it. You utilize Rumble, and I'll get emails from because I subscribe to you, that'll say Steve now is posting a new video on Rumble. I'm on Rumble, that I don't use it that much.
Right.
But YouTube, and I'm going to put in this video down below a list of websites that you can go to, social sites. But just for quick reference, there's Rumble, there's YouTube. There is this website right here. This is called Restream, where you can do videos, you can go live. Twitter, if you're into that. Facebook, if you're into that. But I'll tell you one that I am finding that gets a lot of traction, and I know you don't utilize it. It's called TikTok. It is really good for little quick, hey, this is a quick little 1 minute. You can do 30-second, 1 minute, 5 minute, and 10-minute videos, or anywhere in between. And what's really good is you can go ahead and just do like little quick thing about, like with you do like areas of your stories. You pick blocks and you talk about them. You can do that with TikTok too. So
right.
But now maybe get into a little bit some of the traps out there. Some of the tricks and traps that people use to take your money on publishing. A couple we've already talked about. Be careful of shelving. As a matter of fact, if you really want to make a publisher know if they got integrity, you look at them and you tell them, I would like a specific clause in my contract that says that you cannot shelve my book. If they say, no, we cannot do that, walk away.
Yep. Run, probably.
Yep. Deal breaker. Sorry. Deal breaker. So you want to make sure they don't shelve your book, because that's, I don't call it, it's not a scam. But what it is really what they're doing is they're taking your good work because they're scared of it, and they're protecting a big author name with it.
Yeah, that author should be able to stand on his own. He should not be afraid of you. If he's as great as he is, he should be able to stand on his own regardless of what you throw at him. If he can't, then he's got it. That's his problem.
Well, keep in mind also, there's another reason why what they'll do is they'll shelve. Is like, as an example, if I'm a publisher and you come to me as an example and you have a good story and it's done, okay, I may have a big name that I deal with that I already know is currently working on a similar story. So I'll grab you up and I'll shelve your book because I want to make sure that they're protected. It's called author protections. So yeah, walk away from that. Another one is be careful of how much they charge you.
Yep.
I've seen publishing houses charge $7-8 grand to publish a book. No. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah, that's just a ripoff.
Yeah. Top end for publishing. And I'm talking about, and again, the way pay to publish operates, they usually they'll offer you packages.
Mm-hmm.
And they'll usually have a very basic package, and then they'll have a top of the line package, and then they'll have what they call them they're basically a la carte. So, like as an example, you can just get a book cover done by them, or maybe you can just get a layout, or you can get just editing done by them, that type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So those are fine, but one of the biggest scams, and it's a scam, and anybody who does this, you are a scammer. I'm telling you, you're a scammer. Me to you. Quit scamming people. And that is book or publishing locations that will sell you an ISBN. Okay, understand how ISBNs work, and also UPC codes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, when you go to buy an ISBN, there's only one place on the internet that is legally allowed to sell you an ISBN for you and you alone, and that's Boker. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
You'll hear a lot about it with Wizard Tower Publishing. We're going to do some educational videos, and we're going to talk about Boker a lot. Basically, a publisher like me, I go to Boker and I'll buy blocks of 100 ISBNs. Okay? And I buy a block of them, and they're mine. My code designation's in there, my digit code designation. All ISBNs start off with 978-1. Okay? That lets you know it's a US-based publisher. And then the next block of digits is your designation for Wizard Tower Publishing. And underneath that, you can put sub labels underneath there. So like I can have Wizard Tower Games, Wizard Tower Publishing, Castletop Games, that type of thing. Okay? But when someone says, I will sell you an ISBN, what they're basically doing is they're taking their number and they're typing your info into it under Boker, but that ISBN number is actually registered to them, not you.
Mm-hmm.
They'll lie to you, they'll bullshit you, they'll bend the truth, however way you want to call it, but at the end of the day, that ISBN is their number, not yours. Now, it's associated with your book. It's associated with you being the author. All that's legit. But the owner of that ISBN, the listed publisher in Boker, is them. That's the reason why when you go to Amazon, you'll get what they call 9,000 ISBNs. Because they're basically nothing. They're registered to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And that's why Amazon does it, because they don't want specific ISBNs for specific authors. Now, you can go to Amazon and publish under your ISBN. You'll put your ISBN. But if you go to Amazon and say, select one of ours, you're getting a 9,000 ISBN.
Mm-hmm.
And with a 9,000 ISBN, no bookstore in the country will cover your book. You're locked out. Because when they scan it, bloop, it comes up to $0 or 0 cents.
Mm-hmm.
And what they don't want to see is you go to Barnes & Noble, get a stack of books, and some lady's going or guy's going, bink, 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 and they're not paying attention, and that book just come up as free, and they give you the book for free. That's why they don't cover them. Now, why am I saying real quick they're stealing from you? Because it's a trick. They can't sell you an ISBN. Now, I can go to Steve like I do, and I can say, Steve, I'm going to publish your book. I'm going to issue an ISBN, and you say yes. But you know that Wizard Tower Publishing is listed as the publisher. You're the author. It's your book. It's your title. All of your metadata is in there. But ultimately, Wizard Tower Publishing is the publisher.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what these guys do. They'll go online, and they'll buy 100 ISBNs or 500. And then they market them for $99 a piece, fill you full of a bunch of bullshit. You eat it up because it's convenient to you. But you don't understand what's really going on. So that's a big scam. And they do it with UPC codes too.
Yeah, it's just like, if you're silly enough not to do your research and know that stuff, then, you deserve to get taken to the, cleaners on that.
Well, yes and no. I mean, the thing is, there's a lot of people that just don't know. They just don't understand. And the reason why they go to a publisher is because they're coming to you because they want your knowledge, they want your help. And as a publisher, you shouldn't be out there scamming people by telling them one thing and doing another. You know,
Hmm.
what a publisher should do is when you hire them, they should say, we issue you an ISBN. And like what we did with Two Moon and we're doing with Wizard Tower Publishing is you're going to get an author packet. And in that author packet that's emailed to you will be an explanation of how ISBNs work and, you know, what the process is and talk about UPC codes. Why is ISBNs issued for one thing and UPCs for another, et cetera, et cetera. So, um, anything else you want to kind of get into here? We need to cover here because this is important, I think, an important video.
Um, well, one thing, and I'm not saying this to discourage people, it's what I'm trying to do is to get you to look at things realistically. Is and a lot of this depends on you as the
I know what you're
author.
going to say, and you are
Yes,
right already.
a lot of this depends on you as the author, but there's a rule. It's called the 110-5-1 rule.
One
It's
ten
real.
five
It's
right
real.
now.
Yeah, it's actually technically 110-5-1-1, but it
Mhm.
says that of every 100 books or every 1,000 books that are published, only 1% actually sell over 100 copies. Of them, only 10% sell over 1,000. Of them, only 5% sell over 10,000. And of them, only 1% sells over 100,000. And of them, only 1% sells over 1,000,000. So,
But why? See, this is what I used to tell people all the time. But that's true, but there is a really big why to it. And the reason why is because what we talked about earlier. People are not willing to get out of this thing right here
and do their
and do
homework.
the work.
Yeah, do
Get
that's
out
not,
there. It's an investment.
yeah,
You know,
it's the idea of, well, I published a book, so you're all going to come racing towards me and beat down my door and throw all this money at me and all this famous stuff. No, it's like what I can't remember the guy's name, but he once said, "Don't come to me until you're famous." In other words, I'm not going to make you famous. You make yourself famous, then come to me.
Well, I used to also tell authors this, and I'm going to continue to tell authors at Wizard Tower Publishing is, keep in mind one thing. One of the worst things, and this I heard this all the time, is people will come in, they'll say, I have a book, and I always ask them, tell me why do you think this book is so good? Because I want to hear their passion. I love hearing an author's passion. And they'll say, let me tell you something, Don. I was blown away. I had my brother read this and my mom and my friend read it, and they said that this was the best fantasy book they've ever read. And I look at them, and inward I'm going, and I'm not trying to be mean, but keep in mind one thing. Although I've heard this all the time, my mom won't lie to me. My mom's brutally honest. You know what? My mom was brutally honest too, but my mom also loved me, and she wanted to, hold Don up like all mom and dads do. So no, they're not telling you it's the greatest because they think it's the greatest. Chances are they probably didn't even read the whole thing. I mean, I'm not being mean. We're talking facts and honesty here, people. Okay? What they're doing is they're trying to do what any parent or a friend would do, is they're trying to hold you up. And I can honestly say the guy sitting next to me is the difference. You have read some of my work before and said, you know what, Don? I think this part's crap. And you've said that to me and said, this is why. That's rare. So what you want to do is you want to avoid having mom and dad and friends and brothers and sisters read your stuff. Sure, let them read it. But don't take what they say seriously. Take it with a grain of salt.
I actually have a good suggestion. This wasn't true like 10 years ago, but it is now. There's a very useful site out there called Meetup. And they have on their writers groups. And I got to visit the Lansing writers group a week or two ago, I think it was by now. And they are very...
And you're holding this back from me now?
I told you about it before.
Secrets, everybody.
Yeah, I told you about it before. Don't even go there.
I'm joking with you.
But yeah, anyways, though, I went there, and yeah, they were, they went through, and basically they would meet up, and they would turn in and advance their the part of the manuscript that they wanted feedback on, and the people at the table were brutally honest about it. Like, it's like, this works or this doesn't work and stuff. And there's others, like I said, that's just Lansing, because I live in Lansing. But if you go up on Meetup, you can find author groups. If you, like, say you publish games and you want to get feedback from gamers, they've got gamer groups on there and all kinds of stuff. And it's a great way to meet people and get feedback. But
also, I have to caution somebody here in general, and that's people watching this. Look, we all have egos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Especially writers, authors, creators. We have really big egos.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But let me tell you something. The person that you should have the most respect for is not the person who says, Steve, I read your book and I really think it's good. I like it. That's not the person that you respect. You respect the guy who looks at you and says, Don, I read your book, and let me tell you something. I think you have some major problems here. This does not work. This character is absolutely horrible, Don. This plot line absolutely goes nowhere. That's the person that you want to listen to, and that's the person you want to respect, because what they're doing to you is be damned with your feelings. You're asking my opinion. You want your name on this, and you think you're going to make money. You need to hear the negative.
Oh, yeah.
It's just, Yep. And it's just like people who get, and I get this all the time. And you see it in writers group. I run a writers group on Facebook, and you'll get people and go, oh God, I hate this. They'll say, I got a 1-star review today. And they put the little crying emoji. Grow up.
Mm-hmm.
Stop with the crying emojis. And you got a 1-star review. Did they tell you why? And they'll go, yeah, this is what they said. And I go,
well, then fix it.
You just got a great review. And they're like, no, I didn't. And I'm like, yeah, you did. That person who told you that character sucks and they told you why that character sucks just did you the biggest favor in the world. Now you can take your character that sucks and you can fix it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sometimes you'll just get bad reviews for the sake of bad reviews, like the guy who complained about a lizard pursing his lips.
Yeah, I was going to throw it in your face. Yeah, the infamous. This happened to Steve a long time ago. A guy gave him a 1-star review because in one of Steve's books, sci-fi, it's science fiction. One of the main characters is like a lizard-based alien race, and Steve's character mentions pursing his lips. Well, the guy goes, lizards don't purse their lips. Number one, it's sci-fi. Number two, in sci-fi like fantasy, anything can happen.
Yes.
We're talking about spaceships going through space faster than the speed of light, and you're worried about a lizard pursing his lips.
Yeah, I figured he was just jealous, and that was his only way of dissing on me.
Or he's just being like some people are. And that's another thing. You have to balance the review. Keep in mind, some people give reviews and they're negative because they just like being mean. I mean, there's people out there just like being mean. They like tearing people down. There's people out there, though, that give, we'll call it spirited, blunt reviews, which can sound mean, but if they're telling you why they don't like it and they're giving you details, then that's constructive criticism. Although it may be harsh, it's still a form of constructive criticism, and that's what you want. So, don't worry about 1-star or 2-star reviews. Look at them for what they are. If someone says 1-star review, I read Don's book, it sucks balls, it's the most horrible book I've ever read, don't buy this piece of shit, that's not really a 1-star review to me. Okay, they're just being a jerk. If someone says 1-star review, I really don't think this book is ready yet, I would not buy it right now. The author really needs to worry about the plot line. There's a lot of things that he talks about that he goes off and does nothing with. 3 of the main characters don't work because this character does this and this and doesn't work, and that's why. that's telling me how to fix my book. I actually prefer negative reviews than I do positive. It's just like with the convention I just did. I just did a game convention. I asked people, please tell me what you liked about the convention. But then I said, also next, please tell me what you did not like about the convention and how I can improve it. Because I need that bit of information to make it better. It's the same as books. You got to know the negative. You got to know why.
Yeah, what are you doing wrong to make it better?
Bingo, there it is. But yeah, I mean that's pretty much what I got here today. I mean, we could talk about this. We could do 10 videos like this and not cover everything. But
another thing too, when you're publishing books, and you harped on me about this, is don't worry about word count. When the book is done, the book is done. Now I do use word count, but it's more there not as a target, like I have to get this many words. It's there to push me forward, like, because I have a habit of summarizing too much. So if I have that word count, I'm looking at, okay, how can I flesh this out to get closer to that target? And that it's a writing motivation is all it is.
Well, and also I always caution people is that what you want to stay away from with word count, and the reason why you want to stay away from word count is, and I'm gonna kind of sound like I'm double talking here, but you want to have word count in the sense of going, okay, I'm going to write a single story book, one novel. Okay. I want it to be, I'm going to target 100,000 words. Okay.
Yeah. And if the story's done at 80,000 words, the story's done at 80,000 words.
Yes. But see, also what that helps me do is I don't follow it rigidly is because, like you just said, the story tends to be done when the story's done. But also, if I'm done at 40,000 words, then something's wrong, because how I usually do it is I will take, a notepad and I'll make like this is a good example. I'll take a small notepad and I'll make an outline of my story, like overall, what's the story about? I'll write some main characters out, some plot ideas, what the goal of my writing is. Sometimes, and this is another thing, don't ever think you got to have it totally done. I have never written a book where I knew what the outcome was going to be. I have never written a book and had the ending done.
Yeah, and then another thing I like to tell people is, be detailed in your notes, but also understand no book outline ever survives the rough draft. Your notes and your story and your thoughts and everything will change as it goes along, because the story, what you have in your mind and what the story actually ends up speaking are going to be two different things, because as any good author says, I'm not the author, I'm the scribe. The story tells itself. Exactly.
And there's also a thing I always tell authors is there's a way that you want to write your book. And when I mean write it is, and I'll explain why in a moment. You always want to make sure it is done in Courier, 12-point font, double spaced, 1-inch margins all the way around. Now, why do I do that? Why that? Why do I have to have it that way? Easy. Because when you hand it to the editor, you want enough room for that editor to be able to make notes between the lines, your sentences and everything. And you want enough room around the edge where when it's in PDF, because that's what we edit in now, Adobe PDF, is we edit and there's room for editor comments. Like they'll make a box and they'll say, this does not work and this is why. You're giving the editor room to do their job.
Right. And some editors now, they don't take paper copies. They take, they'll only take Word docs. And like for me, I use LibreOffice. So my stuff comes out in ODT. So I have to save it as in like Office 97, 2003, because that's what I have to give you my manuscripts in, is that format. But I could write it in whatever doc format I want to, as long as it's a standardized format when it goes to you.
Yep. Now, one other thing, and then we can close out this video because we've been on almost an hour, and that is AI. First of all, do not write in AI. Do not use AI. Do not, and I'm so sick and tired of hearing people go, but I use it just as a tool. No, stay away from AI. And this is the blunt reason for it. Right now, there are 3 massive class action lawsuits in the federal court system against these companies using AI. One of them is ChatGPT, is their defendant. If these companies lose, it is very well possible that then what can happen is all of these companies will be forced to hand over all of their user data, IP addresses, account information, emails, all of that stuff. And what they'll be forced to do is hand that over. And what happens is you become the target. Because have you ever been online, or not online, like watching TV, and you'll say, this is a famous commercial, we've all seen it. Do you suffer from mesothelioma, the lung cancer? We're the office of Jones, Lake, Smith, Johnson, Jones, and Jones, and we specialize in helping you. No, what they are, they're ambulance chasing predator attorney law firms who specialize in one thing and one thing only. They handle that type of case. They only go with mesothelioma, and they go after these companies. And you will become a target.
Mm-hmm.
Or you risk becoming a target. And I, as a publisher, will become a target. So what I do is I make authors sign a declaration to protect me, saying that they do not utilize AI. And if I find out you are using AI, we're done.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we're done.
I even mentioned it, don't use it in production. If you want to use it for like an idea seed, that's fine. But beyond that, that's about it.
Okay. Again, like I just said, I'm going to sound like I'm doing a little double talk here.
Right.
This is where the double talk comes into play. If you're utilizing AI as you call it, an idea seed, which basically, and correct me if I'm wrong, an AI seed to me is you can take something and kind of flesh it out and kind of get through a writer's block and get you moving towards an idea that you need to move to. You're not copying the content.
Right. You're just spawning creativity.
Yes. That's different because you're not utilizing the end agent for the end product.
Exactly.
Okay? It's just like AI imagery. Listen, I don't care if you take AI imagery and then you say, but I put it into Photoshop and I changed it. No, you're still utilizing AI, because my thought process is this behind it. When I first started Wizard Tower Games, okay, I had no connections out there. And I'm going to name these men because these guys have integrity and they help me. People like Dean Spencer, people like Eric Lofgren. Those guys, I went to them and said, hey, I'm a new game company. I don't have a lot of money. Can I buy something of yours cheaply? What do you got that's cheap? I'll make sure I credit you. These guys came to me and said, tell you what, you can use it for free. Just put my name in it. I'll help you out. I don't forget that.
Mm-hmm.
And by using AI, I'm basically thumbing my nose up at those men and women who stepped up for me when I needed it. And I'm going to use AI because it's free. And then I really love it when they go, well, I created this. You didn't create nothing. You entered some text in
a prompt.
Yep. And then you just kept doing it until you found something you liked. Let's just be real here.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I'm not trying to hate on people who utilize AI. If that's your idea of art, go ahead. But again, these companies are being sued. If you have a retail product out there for sale and they lose, you have a big target on the middle of your chest, my friend. And do not think for a moment that they will not go after you. When they go after people, big and small and everything in between, they go after.
Mm-hmm.
Why take the chance?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if you're going to be an author, or if you're getting into game publishing and you're gonna do games for a living, you're gonna learn very fast. It looks like a big space. It's a very small community. People know everybody else's business, and integrity matters. Mm-hmm. And if you don't have any integrity, word's going to spread fast. And once you're labeled a scumbag with no integrity,
You're done.
you're done. You are. And for those of you who do not believe me about that the big companies will go after the little guy, go look up a federal case called Wizards of the Coast LLC versus TSR Hobbies and Dungeon Hobby Shop Museum. Wizards of the Coast spent $1.3 million to go after a guy who was using their trademarks. It's real out there. So that's it. But Steve, we have been at this 56 minutes now. I think we ought to cut it now. Thank you for coming on the video. Tonight, folks, on the Vlog of Many Things, which will be myself, Eric, and Tom. Myself, Eric, and Tom, and you, Steve. Sorry.
Yeah, don't forget me.
We're going to be doing a live tonight, 8 o'clock. And we're going to be basically doing, it's kind of a mishmash, but a lot of really interesting topics. In fact, real quick, I can real quickly give people a sneak peek at our topics. What they are is we are going to be getting into, I'll real quickly show people this because I think it's important. We are going to be talking about female novelists. We're going to be talking about them. We're also going to be talking about RAFM going out of business and closing of shop. We're going to talk about our RAFM was a famous mini company. We're going to talk about the reason why they went out of business, how home-based 3D printing is really causing some waves and an explosion in the industry. We're going to talk about the democratization of the miniature industry using new technology, such as Thingiverse and such. Also, we're going to be talking about people leveraging other ways like eBay and things like that to sell their minis. Home-based printing, home-based publishing, all that kind of stuff. We're going to be getting into it. So kind of like right up everybody's alley. Tom is a big mini guy. You know a lot about home-based publishing. I know a lot about publishing. Eric knows a lot about games and publishing and such. So it should be a really good show tonight, folks. Mm-hmm. So remember, 8 p.m., be there or be square. I am Don with the Vlog of Many Things.
I'm Steve.
And ladies and gentlemen, we'll see you guys all tonight.
Okay.